What's happening, Carolina fans? Welcome to Two Fans in the Stands, a podcast related to all things Carolina Panthers and North Carolina Tar Heels. I'm your co-host, Tony.
And I'm your co-host, CJ.
Let's go. CJ, what's happening with your cuz? How you feeling?
Hey, let me tell you, I'm feeling good today. It's always a different type of preview after we won the previous weekend. It's only happened.
The vibe different, huh?
Yeah, the vibe's a little different. Everything feels right this week. So I'm happy. I usually try to stay cautiously optimistic. But, I'm a little bit more than that, but I'm trying to tone it down, though, because I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Right. You don't want the build up to explode.
Exactly.
I get you. I got it. So let's get right to it. Well, first, before we get right to it, is there any updates to this week's injury report or transactions going into the matchup against the Falcons?
Well, as of this recording, no. We signed an offensive lineman from the Dolphins practice squad, and Henry Anderson has been placed on the IR, and also Pat Eifline is going to have season-ending hip surgery. So Bradley Bozeman will be our starting center for the rest of the season.
Yes, sir. Subwoofer. Oh, my bad.
Hey, okay. I know you're gonna be happy about that one.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit.
Subwoofer, yo, that sticks. I like that one.
Yes, sir. Bradley Bozeman and the surround sound.
All right, I can dig that one.
Yeah, I'd have named the whole offensive line.
Yo, that's what's up. I can dig that one.
Yeah, Bradley Bozeman and the surround sound. My bad. Go ahead. I ain't mean to interrupt.
No, you good. I was done. I hope the guys somehow, some way, somebody listening to this can get that back to him in the offensive line. That would be dope.
Yeah, I made a tweet on Twitter, and jokingly I sent it to Nikki, who is Bradley Bozeman's wife, and I was so excited to see him be put into the game because I've been calling for this every game. I have been calling for this since the off season. Now, unfortunately, I hurt his
You're not by yourself.
Right. But I have been saying it week in and week out. We need Bradley Bozeman and his size, his durability up front. Pat Eifline, he held it down long enough, but I knew that he was so injury prone because he has a history of always staying injured and haven't had a complete season that I know of since he's been in the league. Bradley Bozeman had 48 career starts for the Baltimore Ravens at center. So if that don't scream durability, I don't know what does. So I knew we needed that up front. So I was more than ecstatic to see it happen, and was greatly surprised to see that he's going to be there for the rest of the season. Hopefully everything goes well. I don't want to put anything out there in the ether about anything else because I don't want the wrong thing to be grabbed on and whatever. I'm just keeping hope alive and everything plays out the way that I had hoped. So
I read an article today where he was saying that it was frustrating because he was battling it out in training camp with Eifline, and then he injured his ankle, which gave Pat the job, starting off. So when he got back healthy, they decided to kind of still stick with Pat Eifline. And he was talking to a group of, I think, middle school kids about that very same issue about being humble and waiting for your turn, and your turn will come. And then I think it was either later on that day or the next day, he got the call from the offensive line coach, that said that he was going to be starting against Tampa. And I'm not going to lie, I was more than happy to see Bradley Bozeman versus Vita Vea than Pat Elflein versus Vita Vea.
Besides that one play when Vita Vea beat him across his face.
I'll give him that. First game of the season. I'll give him
that's
that.
Why I say
that's the only time it happened.
The only time. And Vita Vea was a non-factor. You hear me? Non-factor
Sure
the rest of the game. You heard his name that one time, and that was it.
That was it. That was a wrap after that.
And also, my boy Tay Hayes has been signed to the 53-man roster.
Yes, sir. He sure has.
Yes. So I'm definitely glad to see that. I've been calling for that ever since the preseason as well, because I felt like he earned it. I felt like his technique and his aggressiveness was better at the time than C.J. Henderson and Keith Traylor. So, like, for me, I don't care where you got drafted at. What you put on tape and your level of production, that's what I'm more concerned with. I don't care if you a 7th round pick and the guy in front of you is a 1st round pick. If you playing better than him, damn it, you should be playing. That's just how I see it.
Hey,
that's just how I see it.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Well, let's get right to it. What are you hoping to see this week in this matchup with the Falcons?
You know what? I'm going to take a book out of I'll take a page out of your book.
Okay.
I want to see PJ Walker. Yeah, I want to see PJ Walker, 275 yards, and three touchdowns.
Oh, you got a dream. You got a dream chaser list. Oh shit!
No. I ain't gonna call it a dream chaser list.
What you call it?
Last week I had a shit they need to do list.
Yeah.
And this week it's the shit I want them to do list.
Okay.
So, I want PJ Walker to have 275 yards passing and 3 touchdowns.
Okay.
I would love the combination of Chuba Hubbard. Hopefully he plays, because they said that he could have come back in the game last week if he needed to, but he didn't, so they kept him on the sideline. But the combination of Hubbard and Foreman, I want to see them repeat last week's performance. Where they combined for about 170 yards rushing.
Yeah, about 175 yards rushing. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see that performance repeated. I want to see DJ Moore have back-to-back games where he gets more than 2 passes thrown to him and maybe a catch and for 4 or 5 yards. He had a great game last week. I hope that continues. I want to see Terrace Marshall get more targets, get more receptions, and continue to grow. And for my tight ends, the only thing I want them to do is they ain't got to catch nothing. Okay, they can have 0 catches for 0 yards. I just want them jokers to block. When they're called on the block, I just need them to block.
Right.
Now if a ball is thrown their way, let me roll back on that. If the ball is thrown their way, they need to catch it. Okay,
right.
But
they don't need to do nothing else but just catch it. Catch it and fall down.
Because as you saw last week, outside of Tommy Tremble's touchdown catch, they were really a non-factor, as far as the passing game goes.
Rightfully so.
So in turn, when they call the counter, sweep, whatever, pitch the ball out, I need them to be blocking.
Right. I got you.
I need them to be blocking. On the defensive side, I want Ioannidis to be healthy this week, get out of concussion protocol, get back in the lineup, him and Big Dump Truck Brown. I want J.C. Horn to get healthy and come back and play and stay healthy. I would love to see. I would love to see them be able to shut down Marcus Mariota as a passer. And we all know he's got decent feet and he can run.
Right.
But I want them to make Atlanta one-dimensional. And their run game is no slouch.
Right.
But as we saw last week when they played the 49ers, when Mariota has a chance to get going, get settled, have time, throw the ball, complete passes, you see what they can do. Because they beat they beat down a very good San Francisco team. So
yeah,
we'll see. But yeah, but that's the end of my. Oh no, that's not the end. One more thing, I want to see whenever C.J. Henderson is in the game, I just want him to pay attention. I want him to pay attention because there were times in that game last week where his receiver was going one way and he was looking the other way.
I swear he looks.
If anybody don't believe me, go pull up the tape, especially that out route that Mike Evans ran last week. C.J. Henderson was looking on the opposite side of the field while Mike Evans planted his foot and went to the left for an out route and caught the pass.
Yeah, he looks nothing like the player I remember him being at Florida, which is sad to say because it looks like the polar opposites. And I go back to what I said earlier in the season. He don't look like he loves the game 100%. Like it's like he just going through the motions. And I'm no doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist, so I'm not even going to sit here and try to label him any kind of way or try to, diagnose him or anything like that. But you can see that his attention to detail and his love for the game is not there. It's not there like it should be. So that's all I'm gonna say on that. But he looks polar opposite of what he did or what he looked like when he was at Florida. But yeah.
He sure does, and I swear that makes that third round pick sting even more. I swear it does. Because I mean, we as far as his play on the field, we got nothing in return. But like I keep saying, I'm gonna keep praying for him. Hopefully, somebody can talk to him and get his head in the right space and get him back to playing football. Because I think at this point, any kind of improvement from him will be appreciated from Panther fans across the world. Because he's literally laying eggs out there every week.
Yeah. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. But the only thing that I can see right now, as far as C.J. Henderson, because they traded for him, and so far Carolina has lost to me in that trade, even though Dan Arnold is not playing well or at all in Jacksonville. So the trade could be a wash, I guess you could say, because neither one of them is really getting the value back to what the teams gave up to get them. But the only other thing I could see that could benefit Carolina right now by having C.J. Henderson is that he's still on his rookie deal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you have 4, possibly 5 years in total, even from the time he was in Jacksonville, to maximize and get his mind right and see what you got in him. So that's the only benefit I could see of Carolina keeping him around. Because after that, he's definitely not warranted any big contract.
Now, I slightly disagree with you on that some, because I think that we've got the worst part of that deal and then some, because C.J. Henderson, you can argue that he's some of the boneheaded plays that he's made this year potentially cost us a couple games.
Yeah.
Cleveland, and I think the other one was Hollywood Brown in the Arizona game. Now, mind you, now we lost by a good bit to Arizona. It wasn't as close of a game as the Cleveland game, but that was still a big play.
But I think at that time, we had the lead in the Arizona game when that play happened.
True.
Yeah.
This is true. Yeah. But and this is just my opinion. Looking back at it now, I think I would rather have Dan Arnold back with that 3rd round pick, and maybe your boy Tay Hayes would have been promoted even sooner in the season, and he would have been playing. Then that's hindsight now because it's after the fact. But looking back at it, I would love for that scenario to have played out than what we got now.
Yeah, I got you.
Who knows? So
right.
Yeah, but that's the end of the shit I want them to do list. So I kick it to you. And what are you looking forward to this week?
Well, I hate to say it, but I kind of felt like, I don't know how you did it, but I felt like you kind of got into my notes a little bit. But
I told you I graduated from the University of Clio.
Yeah. But my segment is called Rinse and Repeat.
Hey,
so basically what that means is last week was last week. We played a great game in all 3 phases of the game, but let's refocus and do the same thing this week, but even better. So give me a repeat performance of what you did last week, but even better. So I want to see PJ Walker repeat what he did last week, but even better. I want to see the run game be better than last week. I want to see the wide receivers and tight ends be better than last week. I want to see the defensive line get more pressure and produce more sacks than last week. I want to see the linebackers continue to make solid tackles like last week. I want to see the defensive backs correct the mistakes they made last week. So in all, I want to see the same thing this week as I saw last week, but better. So I think last week gave everybody a glimpse of what we could be offensively and defensively when everybody is flying to the ball and everybody is doing their job. And when I say that, I mean as far as just make the tackle. Instead of trying to go for the big hit or the big shot, just make the damn tackle. I think when everybody was on one accord last week, it showed up.
It did.
Now, mind you, Tampa has a lot of problems, but so do we. And me and you talked about this right after the game, just the conversation I was telling you. I said to you, I was like, listen, they may have a lot of problems up front in the offensive line. They line this year looked like our line last year. But the difference is in their offense and our offense, they still got Tom Brady. They still had Leonard Fournette. They still had Mike Evans. They still had Chris Godwin. So I don't want to hear nothing about how bad Tampa offense look, and they got all these injuries. Most of their injuries are in the secondary. Most of their injuries are in the secondary.
We finished their secondary right on off, didn't we?
Right, and that's what you're supposed to do. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to take advantage of their weakness. That's exactly what we're supposed to do. So I was glad to see that the game plan was that we were going to take advantage of the weakness of their secondary last week. So, like I said, in all 3 phases of the game last week, we showed up. We showed up. We saw a whole nother side of what the offense could be. We saw the play calling be better. We saw the offense take shots downfield. We saw I I don't think I've ever seen a game where the Panthers ran for more than 100 yards on the Buccaneers. If you've seen it, if you can recall, please let me know. But I don't recall. It may have
I
happened.
have. It's happened, but it's been some years. Do you remember? I believe it was a Monday night game. It was back when we had D'Angelo Williams and
And
Jonathan
Jonathan
Stewart,
Stewart.
and they both ran for 100 yards plus on Tampa in that one game. I think it was a
Okay.
Monday night, and I know I'm going back some years,
Well,
but
in recent memory, in
yeah,
recent
yeah,
memory, say
yeah,
past
yeah,
four
yeah.
to
I
five
didn't.
years,
Yeah,
yeah,
no, not the past 4 or 5 years. No,
because
I didn't have the
they
parameters at first, so I went back to what I knew.
you went to the archives.
Yeah, hey, I remember that game because I remember they
Yeah.
both darted off for like 60-yard touchdowns on back-to-back drives.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But just to be able, I mean, even though Tampa Bay's defensive line ain't what it was last year, and they were missing Akeem Hicks in the middle, but I like the fact that we ran the ball from sideline to sideline. You saw the stretch zone plays, you saw the outside sweeps, you saw the screen plays, get we got the big guys running sideline to sideline, make them run,
Yep.
tired them out. So then when we did hit them in the middle, they wasn't as effective as they normally would be. And I was glad to see that we took advantage of that last week.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh,
like I
and
said,
you know who also wasn't a factor?
who was that?
Because I remember we talked about before, Vita Vea was only a factor on one play. But you know who else named that you didn't hear?
Who?
Shaq Barrett.
Right. Yeah, we did not
Yeah.
hear. Yeah, did not have not
Do
one
you
sack. I think he may have
didn't hear
had
his name the entire
one.
game?
I think he may have had one or two pressures. But you're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
They
Him
didn't
or
call his name the entire
Tryon.
game.
Him or Tryon, the other defensive end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 And
The only thing you
also,
heard from that,
go ahead.
and I was gonna say the only thing you heard from that defensive line was Vita Vea with that one sack, and you had Devin White. I mean, you're not gonna not hear from Devin White because he just
Right.
has elite speed for a linebacker, and that cat is everywhere. But yeah, that was the only name that I remember being called on that defensive line for doing anything was Vita Vea. The rest of those guys, Panthers just shut them down.
Yep, pretty much. So I just want us to, in a nutshell, just be able to repeat last week's performance, but even do it better. Because I think this week we have a team in Atlanta that has a lot of holes, that has a lot of problems, and I don't think even at this point in the season, even the way Tampa is playing, and they playing pretty bad, I still think they possess a better team, a better obstacle for us than what Atlanta will this week, and we need to take advantage of that. Even though we play in Atlanta, we need to
Mm-hmm.
take advantage of that. We need to make Atlanta one dimensional because right now they are ranked 31st in the league in the passing game with just over a little over 151 yards a game. So
Mm-hmm.
if we can take advantage of that and shut down their running game because they fourth in the league right now in rushing with
Yeah.
157 yards a game. So if we can shut their running game down and make them one dimensional and put the game in Mariota's hand, I think we have a better chance going forward. And defending him would not be any different than when we had Kyler Murray. We kept Kyler Murray in the pocket in the first half We kept him under wraps. We
Mm-hmm.
didn't let him get out and beat us with his legs, in the first half at least. So if we
Yeah.
can build upon that, come with that same mindset, that same mindset as controlling the gaps, apply pressure up the middle, and contain the outside, I think we in for a great day. I think we in for a
Oh
great
yeah.
day in Atlanta.
I think so too. And Atlanta has the last ranked defense in total defense too. So they've given up a lot of yards. And
Yeah,
I just hope that we can take advantage of that and exploit that this weekend too.
yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So how you doing? How you doing our fantasy football league this week?
Man, let me tell you, I took off out of we from Eastern North Carolina, so I took off down in the ports in Wilmington, and I got maybe about 30 minutes out, and nobody's heard from me ever since. I am sitting at the bottom of the ocean. I done hit the reefs. My ship done broke in half, and
Ain't nobody
it's
called the Coast Guard. Ain't nobody trying to throw you a lifeline or nothing.
let me tell you, as far as my team going out league, I have nothing of value for anybody to call anybody about.
Okay.
Yeah, let me tell you, it's going to
Oh,
take an
gone.
absolute miracle, for me. And the thing that is the most depressing about my team is my
Yeah.
team looks really good on paper.
Right.
My projected points every week are really good. And
Right.
I go into these matchups and I'm like, okay, well, cool, and then it never fails. I can go every week and everybody except for maybe Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs just lays a complete egg every single week.
Yeah. I don't think Josh Jacobs didn't have a good game the first 2 or 3 games of the season, but then he's caught fire a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But those
But
first
but
two or
they
three
they
weeks
they
were kind of like
they were
suspect
decent.
form.
Well,
Yeah.
I think he was in double figures those first couple games, but it wasn't nothing spectacular. But I mean, he playing like he trying to show somebody, like he trying to show the Raiders, like y'all done for not picking up my option and signing me to a extension.
Listen, that was not a good look. But I hope they lost is somebody else's treasure. Carolina. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
sorry.
No, you ain't got the cough on that one. Say it loud, bro.
Yeah. So I lost for the first time this week. The
Yeah,
two undefeated teams in our league went head to head, and I came out on the short end of that stick. So
and for those who don't know, Tony's team name is Who's Your Daddy, and his opponent who beat him sent me a message and wanted me to make sure I told him that he's your daddy. So I want to make sure I said that on here too.
hey, it's all good. There's nothing I can say. He won. He won
Uh
fair and
huh.
square. That's all right. What laugh now? He'll cry later. That's all right. He always say he talking about his strategy. His strategy. Okay, well I got a strategy too, sir. So we'll see who's the last man standing at the end of the season. That's
As
all I'm
long as
gonna
it
say
ain't
on
you, I'm happy.
that. Oh damn, that's how you feel? That's
Yeah,
okay. That's what
I
we
was
doing
more than
now.
happy. Hey, I was more than happy to deliver that message to you, boy. I was like, yeah. I said, wait till this joker wake up. That was the first thing I'm gonna tell him.
Boy, I tell you, it be your own family, boy. It be your own family. Goodness
Well,
gracious.
I mean, I ain't done nothing wrong to you. I was just delivering a message. That's all.
No, you was wishing, you was hoping that I lost, and then you celebrated in my loss. That does not feel like love
Bruh, I,
for my
I hope you
cousin.
lose every week. That's nothing different. This is fantasy football. We not
Damn.
we not playing basketball at the park.
I hope
we,
I hope the Sharks tear your damn boat up.
hey man, let me tell you, ain't nothing but bones at the bottom. You go down there and find the chain I had on. That was about it.
Oh my God, boy, you is crazy.
I'm telling you, man.
All right, well, that would do it for us on Two Fans in the Stands Week 8 preview of the Carolina Panthers versus the Atlanta Falcons at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check us out after the game as we give a full game recap of the Panthers and Falcons matchup. As always, Panthers Nation, keep pounding.